Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mariah. I'm a rotational physiotherapist in the UK, and here on this channel I post things physiotherapy and lifestyle related. So if you're interested in that, turn the notification bell to turn it on, subscribe so you never miss a video. As you can see from the title, we're going to talk about how to transfer universities from the perspective of a university. I noticed that these videos have been getting a bit of traction, and I've been getting quite a few questions about transferring, so I thought I'd bring you another video. For this video, I did a bit of research into universities that rank fairly well for sports science and physiotherapy. I understand that that's majority of my audience because I study sports science and I studied physiotherapy, but these tips and this advice also applies to other courses that are eligible for transferring, and really it is dependent on a university whether your course is eligible for it. Anyway, that kind of gave you a little heads up of what I'm going to say. So yeah, excuse the glasses, excuse if you see me squinting. I am quite tired, but I really wanted to bring you this video, so squinting it is. Anyway, so as I kind of already said, when it comes to transferring universities, be aware of the fact that not every single course will be eligible to transfer. Like, some courses is just an absolute no for various reasons, and some courses, like, sure, if you want to leave the uni you're currently in, depending on the time you want to do it, there's a high chance that you're just going to have to resit the first year. If you don't know when I transferred or how I transferred, I'll link the video above as well. But basically I transferred in my second year, but if you want to see the video with more tips and my walkthrough video as well, I'll link them in the description and above as well. But yeah, that was a common theme with many universities, that not every single course will be eligible for this. So the best thing to do is contact the university prior and find out whether your course is eligible for you to transfer, so you're not disappointed or you don't waste the space in UCAS, because you only get 5 slots when it comes to applying to leave the university. Another common theme that was shown, that for me, I wasn't aware of this, but it makes sense. The only reason I wasn't aware of this thing is because I'm not an international student. I'm a home student, born and raised in the UK, etc. But I know quite a few international students watch this channel. But if you weren't aware, be aware of the fact that when you apply for your student visa, you apply specifically for the specific university that you wish to attend or that you're attending. So when you transfer universities, that visa cannot be transferred. That visa is scrapped. You got to start fresh, which you have to take that into consideration when it comes to funding. You may not be able to afford to do that. I don't know whether these student visas are on a year-to-year basis or the duration of the degree basis. I honestly could not remember from when my friends did it, but that's something to be very mindful of because these things can get expensive. Anyway, moving on. So I've got some tips from, let's say, about 4 to 5 different universities. I looked at a few more, but many of the universities were starting to repeat themselves, so I didn't want to go on for too long. Okay, so one of the first universities I looked at was King's College London. King's College London obviously doesn't just do sports and physio, they do many different courses out there, and they do have the option for you to transfer there. So they say what typically happens is you'll apply for your UCAS and you have to do it by the normal January deadline. So when it comes to UCAS, I think it's January 15th. I believe it's always been January 15th that the deadline is to get your UCAS application in. For them, if you want to transfer, you've got to get it in by then. There's no other way. You have to meet the entry requirements as if you were going to start in the first year, even if you're aiming to transfer into the second year. You also have to have similar modules. Quickly going back to the whole entry requirement thing. So let's say on my degree at Birmingham, I think the entry requirements were, actually no, Birmingham was my master, so it's slightly different. With my undergrad for sports science, the entry requirement, I believe, were like, I did BTEC, so for me it was like 2 distinctions and 2 distinction stars and a distinction, so that's the equivalent of 2 A stars and an A, for example. Let's say that was the entry requirements, if I remember correctly. what they're saying is not only do you have to have achieved that, but if you're aiming to go into the second year, in many cases, like in my case, you have to have a 2-1 to go on, and that's what they say as well. You need to have gained a 2-1 or higher in your first year through your modules without having done any resits for them to consider you. If you're an overseas person, be mindful of the fact that for them, I've only seen this on King's. I don't know if it's other places do as well, but they just never said it on their site. But what King says is that when it comes to the overseas students, in terms of if you've done a degree prior overseas and you're going to use that as one of your entry requirements, you have to have a minimum of 2 years before you can transfer. So I'm like, okay, I don't really know how courses are structured in other countries beyond the US where I did my study abroad year, but that's what they're saying for there. Another university is UEL, so University of East London. They have the option for you to apply for them, the transfer directly from their website or directly via them, and not necessarily having to go via UCAS. Obviously, you still have the option to go via UCAS if you wish to do so, but that's not something that you have to do. Like every place, they'll ask for your academic reference, a transcript, your syllabus, just to compare and see if they're very similar. And understandably, they'll ask for your English language ability. And then you've got another place like Brighton, for example. Brighton lays it out slightly differently on their site. What Brighton says is if you're wishing to transfer within your first 4 weeks of when you at your current institution, which if I knew this, I probably would have taken this route because I knew pretty quickly, like basically the moment I got there and I started learning, I knew I didn't want to stay at Kent. But if you know within the first 4 weeks, you can call the university and be like, hey, I'm at this uni, not enjoying it, I want to leave, kind of thing. Obviously, go the proper route, like I've said in the other videos, like do your other steps before you just jump to this. But like, you can do this, and I believe it's sorted during the clearing system. Because if you're unaware of how it works over here, what happens is you apply for UCAS. If you don't get your options that you want to get, or you want to go somewhere higher, you can go through the clearing system and you hopefully get a place into a different university that has availability on your course. Obviously, this being said, it really depends on the course because some courses just fill up so quickly that I wouldn't even bet on this. So you've got that option within the 4 weeks to call up. If it's within your first semester, they say you can speak to the course admin. You won't be able to just phone up, but you can speak to the course admin via email or if you wish to over the phone and speak to them about, okay, this is what I've done in my first semester. I'm not enjoying where I'm currently at. Is it possible for me to join your institution in the second semester? So then at that point, you're still in that first year vibe. There's so many other things that like are beneficial if you do it this way. But again, it depends on if every place is like Brighton and whether your university will actually let you do that as well. Okay. And last uni we have here is Loughborough. So, as I said, as I've said kind of before, not all courses will be eligible for it. They also have this rule that King's has that they say they won't take you if you've done any resits in your first year. Again, they want a 2-1 or higher. They do say, like many places have said as well, if you can't get entered into the second year, like you've done your first year somewhere else and you want to transfer, say, into second year versus resitting your whole first year, or restarting fresh basically, they may give you another option if you can't do that second year option, which is most likely they're going to make you resit the first year. So that's something you want to bear in mind. If that's something you're like, absolutely not, then maybe this isn't the place for you. But they do try and help you in that sense. They also, beyond all the other requirements that they have, they also want to know how you're coping in your current university, like with the demands. So I think one of the big reasons why they say no research, which sounds a little bit unfair to an extent, but they want to know that you're able to manage. Sometimes, unless you have a reason as to why you've had to resit, or a reason as to why, like, something has impacted your ability to focus at that period of time, people just pass judgment on your resitting and just assume you didn't take it seriously. That's unfortunately how it's assumed. Before any questions are asked, people jump to that conclusion. And what they're saying is that they want to know that you're able to cope with the demands of your current university before they even consider you to be able to manage the demands of their university. So, in total, from what I gathered from looking at transferring from the university's point of views, the main things you need to do is have a 2-1 or higher, for sure. Ideally, even though it's your first year and it doesn't matter, the grades you get in your first year don't go towards your overall degree, which is true in many people's cases, still take it seriously as if they do count, because you never know if you want to transfer, or if you do want to transfer, you don't want to have limited the options of universities that you have available to you because you did that resit. And I'm sure they may make some some exceptions if you're like, okay, I've had a passing in the family, or I just got diagnosed with this, and I little things like that. Maybe they're willing to understand, but I don't speak for the university. These are just things that they say on their site. Another thing I'd say as a whole that was pretty clear, obviously it's not available for every course, so be smart about which course you're going in for and you're wishing to transfer to. So yeah, and that's how it's looking when it comes to transferring from a university's point of views. Just do your research, people. Do your research. Don't screw yourself over. And if you really want to transfer and your gut feeling is telling you to transfer, you might be right. Sometimes I know it's a bit worrying that the grass may not be greener on the other side. For me, it worked out perfectly. Transferring out, yeah, I lost out on some things like funding, and I had to pay more than my colleagues because I had to pay the tuition of the first years versus the year that I went into. I mean, it was £250 more each year. But, for some people, £250 more is a lot of money. So that's something to consider. But when I look on the other hand, by leaving Kent, I was a lot happier. I made so many different friends. I met my fiance through there. I studied abroad. So that £250 was worth every penny. You know what I mean? So it's really dependent on a case by case basis. But I hope this video helped you. And if you enjoyed it, thumbs up. As always, if you need anything or any advice, comment down below. You can always reach out to me on the Instagram account @arayray_physio, or I think I've changed it to that because sometimes it pops up still as arayray.yt. So either way, you can catch me there. And I know, sorry, I don't post much on there anymore. Well, I don't post at all anymore on there. I'm just very, very swamped with regular day-to-day 9-to-5 work. But I'm still available for reaching out that way. But anyway, see you guys.